This is Live Bet Saturday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Live from Bar Canada, it is Live Bet Saturday. John Von Tobel, Will Hill with you. Will joining us from parts unknown for you. I know where he's at. And we've got 3 hours on tap. Dave Ross going to join us a little bit later. Speaking of tap, we got a good UFC card later this evening that I'm very excited to watch. We'll get the breakdown from Dave later in the program. We will also be keeping track of all the events going down, including the Masters, which is, of course, still underway. The third round, and Rory McIlroy making a mockery of the course so far. 11 under for the day. He is through 6. We will give you the statistical, historical context to what Rory is doing to this point. But, Will, we do have, I believe, a quartet of baseball games set to get started here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. I want to hit those really quickly, see if you've got anything here. And the game of interest, I think, for many, given the trend that we have seen, watched a high-scoring back-and-forth affair last night out in Sacramento. We are 5 minutes away from first pitch between the Mets and the Athletics. Total 9 now, with shaded to the under, minus 120. $1.25 price tag in favor of Peterson and the Metropolitans. Ginn getting the start for the Athletics. I don't need to break down the pitchers if you don't have it, but have you been in on this trend to the over? Is this going to continue for Sacramento here, playing in the warm weather of Sacktown?
Yeah, I have unfortunately not been in on this trend, and it's one of those things where I don't want to be there for the funeral if I'm not there for the wedding. I think it's an expression that you've objected to in the past, but I'll go back to it. So I've just kind of sat it out. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to be the one where it wins, 5, 6 in a row. I know there was an under mixed in there somewhere, and then you jump on it and it loses. You just feel like you're late. I'm sure with the way the market moves, it will correct. It's hard to say that it's corrected now. I don't want to sit here and play the under and say this over's inflated. If I had to bet it, I would bet the over. But I actually think the Mets are a little cheap here. Mets, Soto hasn't really gotten going, but he's getting on base enough. I saw a stat where Alonso is taking like 58% of his at-bats with men on base, which is the career high, not unexpected when you're hitting behind Soto. So I think the Mets are a little cheap. I think the Mets will round into form here. So if I had to play anything, I would play the Mets. If I had to play the total, I would play the over. Have you been involved in this streak at all?
No. In fact, I don't know if you've ever seen the meme where it's like, the group of people standing off to the side and there's the guy in the corner, right? And they all just kind of give him a thumbs up. That's like me, because I'm like, this is a small sample size, and I don't know if this is actually going to keep up. And everybody's like, that's fine. We've bet all 6 of these games over, and we're like 5-1 of the over, whatever it is now out in Sacramento. So I'm very interested to see if this is actually the case, but it's hard to deny that I do think that this ballpark has helped. Especially, I was watching a good amount of that game last night once I got off the show, and I mean, dude, that park looks small. You saw a couple of guys go yard in that game yesterday, and it just seems like this is a park that is really going to accelerate the offense of some of these teams. Yesterday, what do we have? So we had Andujar went yard, as well as Nimmo went yard, Alonso went yard. You had 3 homers yesterday. The ball just seems to be flying out, and just there just seems to be these nice gaps where these guys are hitting doubles, singles relative to these. So we'll see if this really does keep up, but I have not done enough here, done nothing at all. So we'll see what keeps up, but I'm very interested to see if this is going to be the case, because we saw some totals just 2 days ago, or whatever it was when they played the Padres. Total was 8 shaded to the under. That was the game that had, I think, 9 runs in the first inning. Now you're starting to see these 9s with varying juice out there for these totals, so I cannot wait to see where the ceiling is and if this just continues to happen at a minor league park.
I think part of it too is the foul territory, which is hidden data, hidden yardage, so to speak. Where, I mean, you don't really think about it. Your mind doesn't really recognize it. Foul ball, all right. Into the stands, strike one. You don't really think, all right, if they're playing in a different stadium, that's an out, and the difference that makes. That's one of those things that, unless you're really paying attention, the eye doesn't really capture. And I guess the foul territory there is something that is lending itself to more runs. Kind of the opposite of when they played at the Oakland Coliseum. That was a notorious pitcher's park, and that was one where a ton of foul ground. And again, you don't really think of just these random pop-ups to the first base side, and whether it goes 5 rows into the stands for a foul ball or it's 5 feet the other side for an out. It makes a big difference when it's that pronounced in terms of the total.
Yep. We should note, too, that this thing actually did open 9.5 pretty much everywhere. So those that shape the market are at least pushing back on the concept that this is going to be the right total. We will see if that is the case, because, again, we're down to 9, shaded to the under. A couple of other games that are set to get started. Williams and Alcantara will face one another here. Miami is about $1.40 favorite. Total is 7.5, slightly shaded to the under, slightly shaded to the over. And vast majority of shops. Other games set to get started in a couple of minutes. Boston, after getting pasted yesterday, will send out Fitz to oppose Perez. $1.55 price tag and climbing, some spots minus 165 in favor of the Red Sox. And then last but not least, Atlanta and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay right now, a little bit of market money coming in the market on Atlanta. Opened up about $1.40. We're as low as $1.28. Total opened up 9. We're at 8.5. Anything in those three for you?
How about I was on VSiN yesterday and I made the bet personally where I was like, this might be a good time to jump in on the Red Sox at 3-1 to win the division. 7 of their next 10 are against the White Sox. Well, the best laid plans sometimes don't always work out. That was an ugly performance. Did you mention Braves Rays? Because I do like Smith Schroeder under 4.5 hits allowed. I just think he's got good stuff, but he's got shaky command in that. I mean, you could look at his walk total. His walk total is projected over under 2.5. That tells you, I mean, that's a pretty high number. Usually that's around 1.5 with the under being favored in most cases. So his control is shaky, his command shaky. That gets the pitch count up. He's hard to hit, which makes it get hard to get to 5 hits. So to me, I still think under 4.5 hits is some value there on the prop market, but nothing in terms of sides of totals or totals for these other games. The Yankees tied right now 2-2 with the Giants. We have not heard a lot about these torpedo bats. That was the story of the first 2 or 3 days of the season. That's one of those things where it's the flavor of the week, and everybody loses their mind. Then they start losing games, and they stop scoring, and all of a sudden it's not really a story anymore, is it?
No, it is not. And I would say that I think we freaked out about it a little too much. By the way, the funny part about it was like Judge is going ham and hitting home runs. They're like torpedo bats. Like the man's not using it. All right, there's like a bunch of other guys that are actually using it. He's not the one that's actually using it. You know who isn't? Actually, I don't know if this is a fact or not, but I'll say it anyway. Kyron Paris, baby, the Angels wonderkind. Very excited to watch him play. Angels will be up later today against the Houston Astros. Got bludgeoned yesterday by the Stros, so we'll see if they can keep up their winning ways. I was
following that game. It was 2-1
Don't
in
get
the
me
bottom
started.
of the 5th. They went 2 up, 2 down, and I think a ball went off. Was it Renfigo's glove? All right, man on first, 2 out, no big deal. Next thing you know, like 7 runs later, and the Astros blow it open. That's one where they could have been out of that inning 1-2-3. I was watching on the GameCast, so I wasn't actually watching the game, but I was following it. Was that a play? Were you watching it? Was that a catchable ball? And that really opened the floodgates.
I don't think it was entirely catchable, but the problem is if it was or it wasn't, you got 2 up and 2 down. Get another freaking out before you give up 6 runs.
I know.
Like, regardless of whether or not because the base, it was 2 outs with nobody on. Even if you let somebody on, you gotta get out of there. So that was pretty tough for the Angels yesterday. They ended up losing 14-3. Still, I think an average team. Yes,
they played well.
Dude, I keep telling Matt, and Matt keeps making fun of me for it. Like they're a sneaky okay team. Like they're okay. They're not like this. If they stay healthy, that's the big gift for this squad. They can still. I have them over 71.5 wins. I feel pretty comfortable that they're going to be able to achieve that mark. Maybe push for 80. And I think you and I talked about this last week. But as it continues to go on, it being the season, I don't think you're really too scared of some of these AL West teams. So I think that this is a division where there's some upward momentum. Like you can find your way up in the standings a little bit farther just because the teams around you aren't really that good.
This is you're probably going to get mad at me for asking this, so I apologize ahead of time. But just as an Angel fan, if you could get a good 2 or 3 healthy months out of Trout, like MVP candidate, do you think about, all right, what can we get back for him? Can we get off this contract? Maybe let's just trade him while we can. Does that thought enter your mind, or is that blasphemous to even consider?
I mean, I think the problem is that you're still selling him pretty short, right? Like he hasn't really been healthy. So I don't think you're getting back for him what you could, even after a couple of months. I think the real hope is that he is healthy all season long, and then you trade him in the offseason if you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
it's hard. It's like when to walk away at the blackjack table because he's just been so injury prone that, all right, we got 2 months. Do we wait? I mean, it hasn't even been a month yet. It's been 2 weeks, but let's just play it out. All right, we got 2 good months out of him. Can we get 3? Can we get 4? Can we get a full year? And these other teams are probably thinking the same thing. I just wonder if it's something that creeps into their mind.
Well, so there's 2 things, too, big picture-wise for Trout, it's worth pointing out. First off, tied with many others for the league lead in home runs right now. He's got 6. Average isn't there. He's still floating around like 200, but he is hitting for power right now. So I have this 66-1 ticket on him to lead the league in homers from before the season started. Just value if he's going to be healthy, and he could be in the mix potentially. So we'll see if he can stay healthy there. Also, his preseason home run total was like 22.5, got bet up to 24.5. If you bet that over, you're in a pretty good position right now. Dude, he is still pretty good for the most part. So we'll see if maybe playing and right is going to make his season last a bit longer. But to your overall point, I think you're hoping for a strong year so that maybe you can entertain it. But like I said, look, we talked about Kyron Paris. You've got Chanel. Logan O'Hoppy's pretty good. You've got Neto. When he's healthy, like there's some pieces on this team that I think you can convince yourself that should you keep Trout, you can at least go and address your pitching staff and maybe become something competent.
Yeah, Solaire's a major league bat. Ward, Adele. I mean, they've got some talent. It's just about keeping Trout healthy. So Trout, DeGrom, these are guys. Just even as baseball fans, you want to see be healthy, and I haven't seen in a long time. Just be at the peak of their powers. DeGrom was on track to be one of the great pitchers of all time. I know it was Mike Palm who told me that. Greg Maddux told him DeGrom's the best pitcher he's ever seen. He's Nolan Ryan with great control. It's just we haven't seen him in 3-4 years. So I know we got roughed up last night. Seattle hit a couple homers off him, but it's good for the game if we can keep these guys on the field.
All right, real quick update out in the Bronx. Got to ask you about your Bombers here. 2-2 right now, top of the fourth inning. Weather looks terrible out there. Well, yesterday was ridiculous, the rain, and now what's going on? I know you're not there anymore.
I was shocked they played through it yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was. That was dangerous to play through. It's a horrible. I mean, it's fun to go to a baseball game. There's nothing worse when it's cold and rainy, sitting there, you're getting soaked. I was shocked they played the game. Stroman was awful. They don't have any pitching. I mean, they're throwing Stroman, Carrasco, Will Warren. Fried is fine. Rodon is up and down. That's just not big time pitching. I know 60% of the rotation is hurt, but their pitching's not good enough at this point.
All right, when we come back, we'll take a look at the Masters. Ludwig Oberg sinks a putt for par. He is 3 under, but everybody's chasing Rory. 11 under par for the tournament, 5 under for the day, 3 strokes ahead of Bryson DeChambeau, who is at 8 under and 1 under for the day. We'll give you a look on that. Live odds for the Masters, where we stand in more. It's Live Bet Saturday. Don't move a muscle.
This is Live Bet Saturday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
The day out at Augusta is all about Rory McIlroy right now. McIlroy at 11 under par for the tournament with a 3-stroke lead over Bryson DeChambeau. If you look at the betting odds for Rory at this point, over at DraftKings, the $1.75 odds-on favorite to win the Masters. Bryson DeChambeau's 475, Scheffler at 9-1, Lowry at 14-1. Then you get into the 20s and 30s. Jason Day, Justin Rose at 22-28, as is Corey Connors. We'll keep our eye here, but Will, this has been a historic day for Rory McIlroy up to this point. So he gets onto the course and he starts firing right away. Birdie, eagle, birdie, par on a par 3, and then another birdie. So he starts through the first 5 holes with a 3 on each. A little bit of a historical context. Justin Ray at Justin Ray Golf tweets out, Rory McIlroy, the only player in the last 40 years to begin a Masters round 3-3-3-3-3. It's as far back as he has data for every single hole. It has been absolutely wild to watch what he's been able to do here. And Humans and I were talking about this yesterday. You go back to the first round, he was the best golfer on the course. It was just those 2 holes near they don't call it the back 9. I can't remember what they were allowed to call it. It's like the forward 9 or something stupid. Either way, Rory has been the best player on this course for the large sample size of data, and that is continuing to play out here.
Yeah, and boy, you go from 7 back to 3 ahead in the span of like 13, 14 holes. It's just incredible stuff. Keep waiting for him to maybe give one back. He was able to save par just now, and you keep waiting. If you're going to jump in from a live betting perspective, you say, hey, I want to get something on Rory. Do you want to lay the $1.75, $1.80, or do you figure just law of averages, he's due to give one back at some point, and then you can get maybe even money. We see how fickle these golf markets are. So, yeah, it's I think, I'm sure from a TV standpoint, they're rooting for a Sunday where it's close, and they got Rory, and they've got Scheffler, and they've got their storyline. Rory, 38 tournaments, 38 majors in a row without winning, hasn't won since 2014. I'm sure that's the storyline they want. We'll see if Rory can make it interesting and cool off here. Here's the thing about this course, though. It's so feast or famine, where we saw it yesterday with all of those guys going down late and missing the cut on 17 and 18, all the bogeys, where you can get yourself into some trouble pretty quickly and get into those double bogey, triple bogey situations. We've seen this tournament where guys with 5-6 shot leads blow the tournament. So Wouldn't count this over by a long stretch. I don't know that there's any value on the minus 180. If we just did the exercise where, hey, I gave you $100, $500, whatever to bet a free roll, who would you use it on right now?
It would be Rory, only because as you were talking, Bryson DeChambeau drops a stroke as well. So he is now down to 7 under. His lead is now out to 4 strokes for Rory McIlroy, as everybody else behind him is starting to not fall apart, but they're starting to slip a little bit. Justin Rose also just hit a putt for bogey as well after a tough one where he chipped it from the sand, and it looked like maybe he was going to have a 6-foot putt for for par, and instead it rolled, caught the edge, and slipped away. So right now, Corey Connors, he moves to 6 under with a birdie on 8. So a good opportunity for him here, but with everybody behind him now starting to kind of slip a little bit here, he is going to be in pretty good fashion going forward, and he's through 7. So he can still screw this up, but Humans and I talked about this yesterday. It's so tough to lead a tournament because you have to make sure that you don't mess it up. And maybe he is, because he just went from a $1.90 favorite to a $1.40 or to a $1.50. So maybe something's about to happen here on 8, that he is about to screw things up for himself. This is a par putt pretty far away, and he's going to miss that. So he'll drop a stroke now, but still a 3-stroke lead. But the overall point here is, you can maybe play a little conservative, but you've got some wiggle room now. It's not just a 1-stroke lead like Rose was dealing with as we were entering the weekend.
And Scheffler's, even through 9 now. Yep. I'm sure a lot of people are going to look at the odds and say, Scheffler, I can get him at plus 750, 8-1. That's a no-brainer. Would you agree with that, or it's properly accounted for how far he's back?
I think it's properly accounted for how far he's back, and I'd also say he's not playing like Scotty Scheffler. You mentioned this when we were talking about this tournament before we came on the air about how 18 last night or yesterday really kind of screwed with some of these golfers. Scheffler was one of them, had to hit out of the Magnolias and was complaining about, can we move these wires? Can we do this? They're not in your way. Stop being such a wuss and just hit the ball out of the trees. He's kind of not been all over the place, but he has not been the same dude. And so far today, you birdie 2, all right, here we go. Scheffler's coming, and then he pars all the way until 7, then he drops a stroke, and he's right back to even. And through the front 9, he hasn't really done that much. He just has not looked the same up to this point. So I think that's properly accounted for. I also just don't think you're getting the same Scotty Scheffler this time around.
It's funny, as we're texting, it's literally as the words are coming out of my mouth and your mouth. And then one of the group chats with the Fox guy, Sammy P, Bear, Jeff Schwartz. Sammy P just texts, I just bet Scheffler 8-1. So I understand it. I understand it. What was it? Was it the 12th hole yesterday where he was really fortunate? I think he saved par, and he was extremely fortunate to avoid disaster, where he hits the ball into the bushes, and he got a very friendly bounce where it kind of spit out, and he was able to save himself for a double bogey or worse. So this could be worse for Scheffler. He has not been great.
I think that might be the hole I'm referencing too, because he ends up what he got lucky about too is I think it was 18 where he gets out of the Magnolias and gets into the fairway, and then his shot from the fairway, actually, it scuffs off of the green, but it hits this skinny little pole right in the stands. Yeah. So it bounces back and just stays in the rough. You're like, brother, I guess praying that much does work, because if that pole's not there, it's rolling into the crowd, and you got to do something a little bit different.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so Rory right now, he is teeing off. He's on the 9th par 4, 10 under so far. We will see, again, 3-stroke lead over DeChambeau. If you're betting Scheffler, he is 5 strokes back right now. We will see if he has something coming for him. Current in-game numbers, Rory, minus 140, the odds-on favorite to win this thing, plus 425. These numbers courtesy of DraftKings, so shop around on Bryson DeChambeau. You mentioned Scheffler's odds at 8-1, Hovland's 11, Lowry's 14, Corey Connors at 20, Justin Rose 25, Jason Day 28, and then we have a really big line of demarcation there, because Tyrrell Hatton is the next one after Day at 65-1. What do you have? What do you sweat now?
Where do you draw the line? Let me ask you, where do you draw the line? What's the realistic list of people who can win the tournament right this second?
I think realistically I would do what the odds market is doing and draw that dotted line under Jason Day. I think it would be somewhat hard for some of these other guys to make their way all the way back through, considering the lead that Rory has at this point right now.
You think Rose is dead? I know you have a ticket.
Yes.
You have a ticket on Rose, right?
Yes, I think Rose is dead. It's all dead. Don't worry. I've given up here at this point right now. So the problem with Rose, here's the problem, and this is not just me being pessimistic. What you needed for Justin Rose was the equivalent of a shooter to shoot 50% from 3 over the course of an entire game. because the way that Rose makes his hay, the way that he had his lead through the first and through the second round was with his putter. Like, that's how we know Justin Rose operates. If his putter's on and it's hot, he's going to be able to make some difficult putts. That's not the case. So far today, he has lost 1.5 strokes putting, and I don't even think this is updated with his most recent drop stroke right now. So when you looked at round, and this is kind of the worrisome sign going into round 2, first round, strokes gained putting, he was plus 5.3. The next closest person was plus 3.7. He was dominating the field in the first round with his putter. He falls way back down to earth in the second round, and now he's losing strokes with it. Like, you can't really account for that at this point right now. He still has the second best mark with his putter so far, but everywhere else he's average or below average, and that's just generally not going to carry you through an entire tournament like this, especially in some of the key statistical areas, right around the green. He is very, very average. Off of the tee, he is very much below average. Those just aren't key statistics you can fail in to win a tournament like this.
You get mad at me for narrative stuff sometimes if I suggest it, so don't get mad at me, even though I think you will. Do you buy the idea that he's like 45, 46, and that Augusta can be physically taxing, and that will wear him down over the course of 4 days?
I think so. I mean, I think we have evidence to that, right? I know Tiger was dealing with serious injuries, but Tiger got worn down by playing in these.
Oh, he was a beautiful fan. I'm so sad he's not. We used to. Oh man, I faded him so aggressively.
Yep.
Hold the hole over under because people wanted to bet him. He played well for the first day, maybe two, and then he would just go in the toilet the last couple of days. It's unfortunate he's not around to fade, but yeah, I do think it's an issue just for these older guys to hold up over 4 days.
That Lowry has a putt come up short, inexcusable. You can't have the putt come up short. Come on now. Got to get aggressive here. You're trailing by quite a bit, and there's no way you can do it. All right, Rose right now on a par 5 on the 8th. You would think it's a scoreable par 5. Let's see if he can actually get something going here at 6 under with a few other golfers. By the way, as we were talking too, I saw Jason Day sink a putt for par, so he still remains at 6 under through 11. See if he can make some noise here. I think that's Lowry we're watching here as well. Putt goes down for him. After coming up short, that is going to be a bogey on 9 for Shane Lowry. Folks, the summer is here pretty much. I mean, I know it's kind of spring, but summer's here. Very excited for it. People out of the pool, enjoying the fresh air and the sunshine. Make sure you take part of our summer special over at vsin.com. You have everything we do through August 1st for less than $60. That's daily best bets, exclusive betting splits from both Circa and DraftKings. Awesome analysis and great pieces. Zach Cohen and myself starting work on the series previews in the NBA. I know Will is chomping at the bit to get to some of that. We'll talk about that more. Go to vsin.com/subscribe. $59 through August 1st. No tariffs here. It's going to stay $59 up at vsin.com.
This is Live Bet Saturday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Oh, boy. We have a star appearance. Caitlin Clark is at Augusta. How does that change your handicap?
Wow, I didn't know that. That it doesn't change it. Does it change it for you? It doesn't change it for me.
I would think that a man like Scotty Scheffler is now very much motivated to play better golf, and thus very much worth adding at 9-1. You mentioned the 10-1. We mentioned the 10-1 there. He did indeed snap back to 9-1, so there was a little bit of action. And how about that? Corey Connors with a birdie, 7 under. So here we go. He is now tied for second with Bryson DeChambeau, both 3 strokes back from Rory McIlroy right now. Let's see. Justin Rose, he is on the par 5 8th. He sets himself up with, I would guess, to be about an 8 to 10 foot putt for birdie. See if he can score that there. And we're watching right now out on the green. Rory had set himself up really nicely here. I don't know what shot this is on this hole. We don't need to see it at all. Thank you very much. But he's going to miss.
I don't think it's going to be anything good.
No, it's not.
Just jump in. I don't think it's going to be anything good because his odds just shift to right around even money. So he's been up around minus 150, minus 190 is high in the half hour we've been doing the show. So right now he's minus 110 at DraftKings, DeChambeau plus 280. Plus 850 for Scheffler. Connors up to 12-1. So, if you're betting this stuff, most of our listeners know this, but it's worth repeating. If you're betting this stuff, the books are way, way ahead of you. They know stuff that you don't. So if you're thinking, oh man, that number moved, well, it moved for a reason. So keep that in mind.
Yes, and the reason being he missed a 6-foot putt for birdie. So well, they won't show what shot he's on. I believe that was a birdie putt. So he's lining up right now. This looks to be about 4 feet or so for him. So we'll see if this is going to be, I believe this should be for par for Rory McIlroy. And he is going to hit it. So he's minus 120. Still remains at 10 under through 9. So that was a par 4. Missed an opportunity there. That was a birdieable hole for him. He does not get it, so he is at 10 under. Pars that hole after dropping a stroke in the previous hole. So he is now up minus 125, climbing back up. It is interesting, too, to this point. Bryson's got a pretty nice putt here for eagle. He's not going to get it. He should be able to sink a 2-foot putt, if that, for birdie coming up here to move to 8 under. Crazier things have happened. And now we're watching Scheffler. We'll see what he does here. But, it's funny, Will, for a guy like Rory, right, in that instance, you miss a birdie putt, your odds shrink to minus 110. You talk about following this as much like on a stroke-to-stroke basis. I mean, dude, you could have jumped in at minus 110 at that point. He's upwards of minus 125 now. He can still par that. We'll see what happens after DeChambeau hits it. But these swings in-game, we talk about that in basketball. You get it in golf, too. By the way, Scheffler's shot from the green, that wasn't really that great. He's got a really long putt. All right, Justin Rose gives me a birdie. Let's go. He is now in what will be a temporary tie for second at 7 under. DeChambeau should hit this next putt to move to 8 under. He is now plus 330 to win this thing. Scheffler's 8-1, Connors 12-1, Lowry 16, and Justin Rose at 18-1. Man, all right, I'm going to get distracted, but this is what we're here for. This is golf. So tomorrow, big day. You have been bitten by the bug. It is the final day of the NBA regular season. We don't have numbers up for a vast majority of the games that will take place tomorrow. As I have called the last week for the NBA, it has essentially been an extended Week 18 in the National Football League, where you get these really big favorites against teams that have nothing to play for. There have been some big dogs that have been covering, but yesterday was not the case. These big dogs were bludgeoned yesterday, absolutely slaughtered. And maybe it happens again on Sunday, but what intrigues you most about tomorrow, the last day of the regular season in the NBA?
Yeah, as somebody who's been following this stuff, I've been taking a lot of just screenshots of the Nets lineup in the last couple minutes. And can you explain to me who ATN is, or this guy, or that guy? Yep. True Timmy flirting with triple doubles. Boy, you got to really be an NBA diehard. And I think there's more. What are there more two-way spots? I think I heard that somewhere where you can have more. So it makes sense that there's more guys who just, man, you have to be a real diehard if you've heard of some of these guys that are playing minutes for some of these teams with some of the lineups out there. But to me, the one that is going to swing everything, I'm going to assume Denver's going to win, which might be a dangerous assumption.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
That, and I'm going to assume Minnesota's going to go ahead.
So I'm just going to say, Scotty Scheffler just saved his bacon here. That looked like, a 20-foot putt for par, because he had completely screwed up coming out of the fairway there, and he sinks it. So he is going to remain at 5 under, but Scheffler, despite not playing well, continues to save his own ass. So I apologize. Continue.
No, he's hanging around here. Still 8-1 here. Live odds at DraftKings. But to me, I'm going to assume Denver's going to win, which you might push back on it, and we'll see if the Rockets play their guys. They haven't had a lot of interest in playing their guys recently, but do they really want a couple weeks off in between games? I'm not sure. And I'm going to assume Minnesota's going to win. It's going to set up a scenario where the Clippers versus Warriors is going to be the swing game, and the loser is probably going to the 7. Now, there's a lot of different permutations here, so correct me if I'm wrong on anything, but if the Warriors win, I believe they go to the 6, and Clippers go to 7. And if the Clippers win, the Warriors go to the 7, and then the Clippers can either be 4 or 5. I believe I have that correct. Is that what you have?
Yeah. So I'll just read this off to you because there's so many, like you said, there's so many different things. Nuggets at Rockets, simple. Win and you're in. You clinch the 4 seed with the win. You could drop as low as the 6 seed with a loss, depending on other things that happen. Clippers at Warriors, obviously the big one. Clippers can win and clinch the 4th seed with a Denver loss or the 5th seed with a Denver win. A Clippers loss can drop them as low as 7th. A Warriors win clinches the 6th seed. A loss can drop them to 7th. We should also note Jazz at Timberwolves, that has some consequences to it. Anthony Edwards actually was called for his 16th technical yesterday. That would lead to a suspension, but the league rescinded it this morning, so he will not be suspended for that game. Wolves win, clinch a playoff berth. They can finish as high as 4th with a win and as low as 8th with a loss should the Grizzlies win. Grizzlies are locked into the play-in, can only finish as high as 7th with a win. They lock that in. Or should they lose and Minnesota win, they will be the 8th. And keep in mind, the Mavericks can also move around here a little bit. Mavericks finished 9th with a win. That means they would host that play-in game with the Sacramento Kings. Or 10th with a loss and a Sacramento win. And then we know the Kings, they clinched the 9 seed with a win. So for the Kings, it's very simple. Win, you get the host. Lose, you could drop to 10th. And that's everything that can happen in the Western Conference tomorrow.
East is pretty much taken care of. Last year, I remember there was just so many wild scenarios with both the East and the West. East, we have 2 of the series, and then we know the play-in scenarios with the Hawks and the Magic fighting for the 7. Winner goes to the 7. And then Bulls Heat for, it feels like the 9th year in a row, the Bulls are in this game in the 9-10. So I don't know if you think any of those teams are live. But from a betting standpoint, my favorite bet tomorrow, and again, like you said, there's not a lot up. I really like under 221.5 Warriors Clippers. I think the intensity of the game usually leads to a slower pace, more intensity on defense. And Curry, the Warriors offense does not look great. Curry kind of looks worn down with the long season. Harden has played a lot of minutes. If you go back, this is going to be their 6th game in 8 days for the Clippers. He's playing 38 minutes, 41 minutes, 35 minutes. The Warriors have experience guarding Harden. I'm curious, from a Clippers standpoint, you would know this much better than me. Will they put Dunn on Curry? And if that's the case, I think Dunn can do a good job on Curry, and then he's not going to give you much on offense. Both those things are good for an under. So I think an intense, close to the vest, lower scoring game here, and what's really the game of the day. I like the under here, and I would lean towards the Clippers getting the 4. I don't know. I just haven't loved what I've seen from the Warriors this past couple weeks. Agree or disagree with any of that?
So I did bet under 221.5. You and I, we are sharp because this is actually as down as low as 220 at a couple of spots that have this number up. So the market is in agreement with what we're talking about here. Would agree with the sentiment that Dunn probably one of the better options for you defensively with Curry. Remember, I don't know if you saw this yesterday, Curry did leave the game against Portland for a little bit. He actually jammed his thumb on a defender's knee. He came back. The thumb was taped up. But this is why what makes this game fascinating outside of what the ramifications are, keep in mind that you're going to probably put all your eggs in this basket of trying to win this, because not only do you clinch a playoff spot, Will, you clinch the week off.
Get the rest.
Yes, like that's the big part about this.
And they both need it.
Yes,
and so Warriors need it.
Both of them do, right? Like a team like the Clippers, where you do have Kawhi and you want to get this rest, you want to get him ready to go. Obviously, he's been playing a lot more. He played in their last back-to-back in both games. But like you're just trying to get your guys some rest and ready, so you could be in a scenario where you put everything into this game, and the loser of this slips to like 7, and all of a sudden you're in a play-in in a couple of days. So that's going to be the other interesting dynamic here. How that works. But I think you alluded to this. What's pretty interesting, I want to ask you, in the playoffs, generally, you kind of increase home court a little bit because it's the postseason. Are we getting that here with this game? Because I've been using 2.5 points for home court throughout the regular season in the NBA. 4.5 would tell you there's about a 2-point difference between these two if you run with that premise. I think 4.5 is a little strong, but maybe the market's accounting for a faux playoff atmosphere and ramping up the Warriors playing at home.
It's a good point. Now, this might be a weird question. What time is this game? This is
12:30
Pacific?
12:30 Pacific, yeah.
A noon start, noon 30, like 12:30. Doesn't that hurt home court a little bit? You got a little bit of a late arriving crowd, not as raucous of a crowd. Do you agree with that too?
I mean, maybe, but it's also the last game of the regular season, so if you're going to go, you're going to be there, right? So I don't know how much that would change.
You might be right.
We'll have more on this, though. We have plenty of games, a couple of numbers popping up. But if you're betting on sports, why not try the races as well? First Bet lets you wager on hundreds of horse races every day from top tracks across the U.S. and around the world. Sign up at firstbet.com, #1stbet.com. Use promo code VSIN200. Claim a 20% rebate for your first 60 days up to $200. Head to firstbet.com today. We're rooting for our guy Luke here. And Corey Connors make this a little bit of a run. He's at 7 under, birdie the last hole. He got a good shot. We'll tell you what it was when we come back.
This is Live Bet Saturday on VSIN, the Sports Betting Network.
Rory McIlroy trying to stave off the pack here in the third round over at Augusta. He is 10 under, 4 under for the day. He's going to set himself up here for a relatively, we'll call it like 6 to 8 foot putt right now. We're watching Justin Rose with a very long putt for birdie on the 9th hole. It's a par 4. Rose last couple, and he's going to hit. Ooh, come on. That was about, I don't know, I hate guessing on these, 30-ish foot putt for birdie, and it a little too much speed, bounces out of the cup, hit the edge and popped out. That's got to hurt. Could have moved him to 8 under, and instead he's going to have about a 3-inch putt for par. That's brutal for Rose, who's starting to find his groove right now with this putter. That's the thing with him, man. He gets hot. That putter can get hot pretty quickly for Justin Rose, so we'll watch that. DeChambeau has about a 6, maybe even 5-foot putt for par. He is going to hit that, so he's going to remain at 8 under. He is through 9 himself at this point right now. So let's see, 1 under for the day through the front 9. I can't remember what the Masters terminology is for the back 9, so I will continue to call it the back 9. Because it's very pretentious, whatever they try to call the back 9 at this point right now. Wanted to note, so a couple of things. First off, I did add a little Corey Connors at 9-1 as well. Connors striking the ball relatively well. I was complaining. I'd like to see some of these other golfers, Will. Connors set himself up with an awesome iron shot. So he's got a birdie putt of about 6 feet. Ooh, Rory's falling apart. Uh-oh. Rory with the putt for par of about 4 feet. I see a plus sign. Yep, it was a par putt for about 4 feet. He missed it. Now he's got to sink this thing for bogey, and he's about 2 feet away. That is a brutal putt for Rory right now, who should drop back down to about 9 under, and the lead between him and DeChambeau will shrink to 1. Oh, my goodness. Still 3 under for the day. All right, is
now the time to jump in here at plus 130. Is this the time to get somebody else? Is this the time to jump on Rory?
More avid golf viewers will have a sense of how Rory handles adversity like this. I do not really have that. I will say, anecdotally, I feel like sometimes with Rory McIlroy when it rains and pours. And he has lost 2 strokes on the last 3 holes, and his form is starting to dip here a little bit. I would say hold off potentially to see what is going to happen coming up here. DeChambeau right now is on the tee, 1 stroke back. He is on the 10th right now. So we'll see if maybe he does something. He has parred this hole the first 2 rounds, but might potentially smell some blood in the water and try to come for Rory at this point right now. But that's a horrendous performance on the green for Rory McIlroy right there. Strong drive. I don't know if you heard this for Bryson DeChambeau. So current numbers right now after that missed putt. Do you have the numbers in front of you?
Rory plus 125. These are DraftKings. Always shop around. DeChambeau plus 310. Connors 6-1. Scheffler 7-1. Lowry 14-1. Rose 16-1. And then there's a major drop off. Hovland 50-1. If you had no bets, if you're just listening, say, hey, I want to jump in. I haven't bet anyone yet. Who are you betting right now?
Well, as I said, I added Connors at 9-1. And look around. Maybe you could find something there. He's hitting the ball really well, and he just hit a birdie putt right now. So he's also within a stroke of Rory. And I like what I see from him. And I'd also say, look, Rose obviously isn't dead. And if his putter is going to continue to operate at the level it has these last few holes, he's going to be able to get himself right back into this thing, too. He is also on the 10th with DeChambeau. So Connors or Rose potentially would be the ones that I'm looking at here. We'll see if Rose can do anything with the other clubs not named the putter. But Connors, if you're forcing me to pick, I would say Connors would be my selection. And Rose with a really good drive catches the fairway, and that's going to continue to roll, so he's going to get some good distance here. Wow.
Looks like we're set up for a good rest of the tournament. It doesn't look like anyone's going to run and hide, and I'm sure the CBS happy. You got McIlroy in the mix. You got Scheffler enough in the mix, and it's an interesting leaderboard as it usually is here at Augusta.
Yep. Yes, and Scotty Scheffler's going to singe the edge on a birdie putt, so he's going to hit this for par. Right now, Scheffler's at 7-1 to win this thing. He couldn't get away with that one. Deal with the devil to get that last putt to go down. He saved par, but this one could not do it, so he is going to par there, and he will sit there and remain at 5 under par.
If he made that putt, what would his odds be right now? He's 7-1. What would his odds have drifted to?
Oh, I'm sure he'd be like 5-1, maybe something like that.
Yeah, probably 450 maybe.
Especially you'd only be 3 back if you would sink that thing. McIlroy's kind of slipping here a little bit over the last 3 holes. So, and the market, and rightfully so, absolutely loves Scheffler. Like the power rating on him is unreal.
If you have Scheffler, what is a realistic goal for when this round ends and we're heading into Sunday? What do you want to be? What would you sign for? Would you right now if I could go into Sunday 2 back of the leader? Is that something where That's what you want.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the goal?
The goal is to be in the lead going into Sunday. But yes,
Sure.
I think you're perfect. That being 2 strokes, 3 strokes back going into Sunday is manageable. It's not the best position to be in, but it's not terrible.
Yeah.
Man, all of a sudden, this is why I like golf too, because you get this moment where it looked like maybe Rory was going to run away and hide. He had a 4-stroke lead. Then you blink, and we're just watching iron shot after iron shot. Lowry just sets himself nicely up on the 10th for a very short birdie putt as well with a beautiful iron shot. So, like a tournament that 20 minutes ago seemed like it was going to be a runaway, where we had $1.90, minus 190 on Rory McIlroy, now all of a sudden becomes a complete and utter racing competition. So I'm very excited to see how this is going to go. But Lowry also sets himself up pretty nicely. So plus 130 on Rory, DeChambeau 310, Connor 6-1, Scheffler 9-1, and Lowry at 11-1. Scheffler just on his approach shot. I don't think he set up pretty nicely here on 12. This is the I think this is
Down
the whole
to 9-1 for Scheffler.
Look, he's awesome, but he hasn't been playing well. We've noted this, and this is the hole I think that you were referencing, where the one that he's on, where I think it was the first round, he hit it into the bushes, but the bushes were up on a slope, so it rolls out, and he sets himself up fine, and then he chips in for a birdie regardless. So he got pretty lucky when he was playing this. I think it was on Thursday. Don't know if that's going to be the case here right now.
Yeah, and it's there's just natural comparisons with him and Patrick Mahomes, where even when they're not playing well, you just assume, all right, well, he's going to snap out of it. It's whether they're playing the Eagles in the Super Bowl, all right, he's going to come back. Like, you just always they earn that benefit of the doubt. Not saying it's wrong, but there is just that natural comparison where it's just kind of hard to process it when they're not playing well. We're just so used to them playing at such a high level.
Yep. Right now, Connors dips to plus 550. Feeling good. Let's go. Corey Connors. We're all in. Let's go, Luke. This is our guy. Tee shot on the 11th. Oh, yeah. I got to say, he's striking the ball here pretty well, right down the dead of the fairway. So we got a little bit of life, only 1 stroke back and through 10 for Connors. So we're going to have a glut of golfers here as we approach the end. And still plenty of time, as all these guys are like 9, 10, and scattered throughout. Oberg right now. These are the guys, too. I mean, so we always focus on the outright winners. Big putt for birdie for Oberg. He's going to sink that. He's going to go to 4 under. What we forget is that puts him inside of the top 10 is obviously all the other markets, Will.
Sure.
Which, of course, now puts him inside of the top 10. There's things for the top 5. So those are always the fun ones. And then I always like the meaningless, like birdie on 18 to get a guy to like T25. And you're like, nope, that's great. Got him top 25. Let's go. Let's get this thing done. Oh, buddy. All right,
well, it's
Rory's
like
on the fairway. Go ahead.
It's like a touchdown at the end of a football game or a basket. It's something where the announcement, meaningless touchdown. There are no meaningless touchdowns, meaningless baskets. It affects a live line, a second half, team total. Everything affects something for the most part.
Yep.
With all the stuff we have to bet now.
Yeah, they're replaying, so the par putt for Rory there, and what exactly went wrong for him here on the 9th, the birdie putt that sails over, and then, of course, how this putter has been letting him down. And this has been when it's happened with Rory all throughout this tournament right now, and it's starting to slip here a little bit. Let's see if I can get the updated numbers for the 3rd round. Rory, strokes gained putting right now. This hasn't factored in his most recent lost stroke, but he was just about 0.5 strokes gained putting. Would assume that dips to close to even, if not maybe negative, after what just transpired and he dropped the stroke. So putter's been letting him down here so far. Some of the other key numbers, we talked about Connors and the way that he's been striking the ball. So far, plus 1.4 strokes gained with that putter right now for Corey Connors. And he's actually been doing pretty solid approach as well. Other facets of his game have struggled a little bit here. But if he can continue to strike his irons and his putter can continue to go in that direction, this is going to be one where Connors can get live. We have DeChambeau over on the 10th as well. His 2nd shot for the 10th. I vote we keep these up, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, Scheffler's down to 11-1, 5th favorite, tied with Lowry. So I guess they're both tied for 4th favorite. Connors at 550. So this is the longest Scheffler has been all tournament, I believe, at 11-1.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. That has been the case here, and rightfully so. The market's been pretty stuck on where they're going to put him, and would assume that because he dips out, because he is with his 2nd shot not on the green right now. So we're watching that too. And he's going to get on the green, but this is going to roll pretty stop. So he's going to have, I'd guesstimate, about an 8 to 10 foot putt, more closer to 8 for par on this one. All right, vsin.com. You can sign up for the summer special. If you have it, guess what? You can also use your subscription to access the VSiN Watch app. Watch and listen live. You can check out show replays. If you want to go see Mitch in his goofy sunglasses from yesterday's show, all of the replays are up there. You can just download it, Apple app, and Google Play Store. Check it out now. It's the VSiN Watch app, and the best part is you can search for your content as well. So make sure you fire that app up, because you're going to want to be here when we talk to Dave Russ on the other side to get a preview of the UFC card tonight.